Hello YouTube, I'm the Gaming Pegasus 187 and this is Side Score Sunday episode 8. And this is Sunset Riders, a game I actually did a review on a few years ago, and obviously it qualifies under the whole side-scroller theme for this series. Will I ever bring Friday Fight Night back? Yeah, this is just a bit of a detour to... Well, because I don't have a huge library of fighting games, and it's going to be a lot of the same old wrestling games, in all honesty, so... At least with this, I can actually do more games, and it'll just, you know, it's the same idea, but... You can't really have a show, you know, a Friday, you know, do a series about fighting games, and then all of a sudden do something like Super Mario World. Doesn't make sense, so at least this way it makes sense. Unlike TNA. Boom! Segue for the win. Anyway, with the whole fucking debacle that was Vince Russo, and now with the possibility of TNA dying, which would actually be sad, 'cause, you know, having an alternative is good in anything. With WWE, you know, having the monopoly on professional wrestling, and this is the only other, you know, promotion that's on TV, and they've absolutely squandered it. And it's not like all the problems of, you know, the stupidity has been going on in the last few years. It's been ongoing. They've had 12 years to do something, and now they've squandered every fucking opportunity. They brought in Hogan, they brought in Bischoff, and you know, Hogan basically turned TNA to his own damn playground. I think there were a couple episodes of Impact during that, in the early Hogan years, that it was literally, there was like maybe 6 or 7 minutes of actual wrestling, and Hogan was on TV most of the time. It was like Hogan had to be involved in every fucking segment for whatever reason, because he needs the spotlight. God. So, here's some random stupidity from 2006. This is probably one of my favorite ones. So, LAX, Latin American Exchange, who were also involved in that debacle of the electric cage match, were, you know, the anti-American, you know, America's keeping Latinos, you know, foreign heel gimmick, and they're really good. You had, you know, Hernandez, who, you know, big 300-pound guy that flies like a cruiserweight, you know, Mike Austin type guy, and then Homicide, who, you know, your X Division does, you know, flies around. Really good team. Honestly, one of my favorites. So they were the tag titles, and basically Jim Cornette was their, you know, the authority, you know, GM type character at the time. So Cornette went and vacated at the the tag titles when the company deemed LAX unfit to hold them. After LAX attempted to attack Gail Kim, so man-on-woman violence, there's a wonderful Russo trademark right there, and attempted to burn the American flag. He later backed down when LAX's lawyer said it was within their First Amendment rights. In reality, the decision was so unpopular that it almost turned LAX face with the Impact Zone chanting bullshit when the announcement was made. Oh my god. Wow. VKM. Good God. So, after Shawn Michaels and Triple H reformed DX in 2006, the New Age Outlaws rebranded themselves as the Voodoo Kin Mafia, or VKM, which is also Vince McMahon's initials, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. and they participated in numerous unfunny skits mocking both WWE in general and DX in particular. Even though fans panned the angle during the infamous Donald vs. Rosie match on Raw, fans made a point of chanting VKM as well as TNA. You know what a segment is so bad when they start chanting for the competition. TNA started a feud between VKM faces at this point and Christy Hemme, stemming from Billy Gunn playing an asshole chauvinist and talking about how women belong in the kitchen. Christy eventually stood up to Gunn, which sounds okay if Christy hadn't turned heel by doing so. Hemme followed this up by bringing in several tag teams to face VKM. She first brought in the Heartthrobs, a jobber team freshly released from the WWE, as part of the tag team invasion of 2005, which also saw the Gemini, two identical buff twins managed by Simon Dean. You had the Dicks, male Chippendale dancers. And quite frankly, the only team that was actually worth a damn that came out of this was M&M. Mercury, Nitro, and Melina. She also brought in the Bashams, who were originally intended for the role next, and TNA positioned them as Christie's permanent team until the company fired them for no-showing a live event soon after their debut. VKM issued a $1 million challenge to WWE, sent stars from them, specifically DX, to compete in an open challenge match. Dixie, thinking Vince would actually respond, froze the $1 million. Roxy Laveau made her debut as VKM's Voodoo Priestess valet. No real explanation was given. Oh yeah, they also had a segment at Turning Point in 2006 when they had 4 guys come out as male cheerleaders, obviously mocking the Spirit Squad. Now at this point, you didn't need any help mocking these guys because Spirit Squad pretty much became a comic foil for D-Generation X at this point. And I believe was the old Tiny the Timekeeper from the early years. Yeah, he hadn't appeared in about 4 years to copy the shtick of Big Dick Johnson as the big fat oily guy. He also appeared in a lot of unfunny skits and wrestled in a tuxedo evening gown match Christy Hemme against all odds in 2007. Why? I don't get it. You're on there. It's 4 in the morning right now as I'm recording this, so I'm trying to bang it out now, and then I'll render it, and then or I'll just render it whenever and then upload it. So, yeah. Oh my god. Oh yeah, how about some Johnny Fairplay random bullshit? Oh my god, so Johnny Fairplay, who was basically signed to TNA, got like 2 contracts, I think made like $350,000, or like something insane around that, medical, everything. Remember, Fairplay was the guy that basically lied about his grandmother being dead to win a challenge on Survivor. Only known big, angle, he got thrown, he got press slammed out to the floor from the ring by Brian Urlacher, who TNA never asked to do anything physical, just to make it, but, he was able to do an appearance, but never asked if he could do anything physical. After this, the Bears basically asked Urlacher to cut all ties with them. Yikes. So, the other, and I vaguely remember this, and this is around the time this is really beginning I started watching TNA. It was literally, I was flipping through the channels one day, and this is my freshman year of high school. I literally just started fucking high school, 14. I'm flipping through the channels, and I think I was flipping through, it was like, oh, what the, this looks like a knockoff WWE, so I dismissed it. I think I was flipping through again one day, I took a look at it, I'm like, wait, I think I saw Jeff Hardy. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy, that's Jeff Hardy. So I watched and saw Raven, who I knew from WWE, and also enjoy, and then started watching some guys like AJ Styles and the X Division stuff. You had AMW. Literally, AMW was wrapping up their feud at the time with Triple X, Chris Daniels and Elix Skipper, and they had one of my favorite matches of all time at the 2004 Turning Point, the Six Sides of Steel match, one of my all-time favorite matches. Arguably one of the best cage matches in wrestling history, period. So, anyway, going into 2005, Tracy, Trinity, and Johnny Fairplay were feuding over who got to be Dusty Rhodes' personal assistant. After some very unfunny Survivor scavenger hunt skits at Final Destination, Dusty gave them the task of signing a new tag team at TNA. They'd have a match at Destination X, and whoever's team won, they'd be the new assistant. Fairplay, who had previously tried to sign already established TNA stars like AMW and Dustin Rhodes, were unable to get one and was out. Yeah. However, Tracy and Trinity, were able to score two huge teams that were hyped thoroughly through Impact broadcasts and were advertised as a selling point for Destination X. They turned out to be Phi Data Slam, a couple of obese men in their mid-30s playing frat boys gimmick, who later turned up again down the road as main event mafia security duo, and the Harris twins. Nobody cared, and they also had an awful match. During the Destination X pay-per-view, Fairplay ended up signing Buck Quartermain and Lex Lovett, two guys who were regular jobbers for the company at this point. And this was after Tracy had already named a personal assistant, so it was never explained why Fairplay bothered doing this. Also, he never appeared in TNA again, and Quartermain and Lovett disappeared after this. Also, Phi Data Slam were Dusty Rhodes' chauffeurs and hunting buddies at the time, which was pretty much the only reason the men were ever hired. Oh, good old Lockdown, which also debuted under Dusty's tenure. Apparently, I think this was Jerry Jarrett, Ramsey, let's have every match in a cage. And by the way, you can also hear, for those that checked out Slamcast, I don't know if anyone actually listens who follows me, but I do a podcast every week, live, 6 p.m. Would be 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's a wrestling podcast, and yeah. So it's like me, two Brits. So it's one of those interesting. It's fun. I enjoy it. So yeah, you can also listen to me talk about wrestling on that. Anyway, we ended up talking about the Lockdown thing, and this is like let's have every match in a cage. Because I remember when this was coming up, like, Lockdown's gonna feature a six-sided steel match. I don't know, so not gonna feature not one, but two. So there was a point where there was feuds going on, I think AJ Styles was pushing to have his match in the cage. Yeah, okay. So end up we're gonna have every match in the six-sided steel. Sadly, this is generally remembered as this first one as Chris Candido's very last match. The opener, taking a dropkick from Sonny Siaki, and he fractured several bones in his leg. He legitimately fractured his fucking leg, people. He died days later due to a blood clot, a complication stemming from surgery. His last appearance in TNA saw him happily celebrating the Naturals tag title win on the Impact after the pay-per-view, which aired after his death due to their taping schedule. This heartbreaking image was used for TNA's In Memory of graphic. Following his death, TNA refused to pay Tammy Stitch the money they had owed him. While this is technically legal because they were not officially married, Terry Taylor sent her a ham dinner as a condolence gift. In memory of Chris Candido, TNA held the Candido Cup, a tournament consisted of several tag teams with a veteran and a future star. The winner of the Candido Cup would earn a trophy and get a title shot. Sean Waltman and Alex Shelley ended up winning the whole thing, but Waltman decided to piss on the tournament by no showing the pay-per-view where he and Shelley were entered into a four-way for the tag titles as a result of winning. Waltman didn't just no-show, he disappeared for an entire week despite having been at a relative's house only about 2 hours away from where the pay-per-view took place. Candido's brother Johnny was subbed in at the pay-per-view. Shelley's partner midway through the match. They didn't win. Okay, I'm coming near the end here. Why is WWE burying Cesaro? I thought this guy, they were gonna take him. He was gonna take off to the fucking moon. He wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale at WrestleMania. He goes on into the Intercontinental title. Well, he goes on. He's in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the world for the title. What we expected at SummerSlam was Bryan versus Lesnar. What we wanted after Bryan got hurt was Cesaro versus Lesnar. What we have is the Conqueror versus Fruity Pebbles. And then Cesaro's losing. He lost on Raw. He lost on SmackDown. I don't fucking get it. Blah. Oh my god, so I'm trying to find something here. Yeah, TNA spoiling their own show with the hashtag It Happens. Dixie Carter goes through a table, and we already know this happens because the fucking internet wrestling, the IWC, spoils it. Someone on it, the people, the video got posted online. Oh, Dixie Carter gets put through a table. Good God. Yeah, hashtag It Happens. I actually fucking went and tweeted Dixie. I said, hey Dixie, after It Happens next week, will that be the last time we ever see you on TV? Because literally her fucking segments, I should sue them because they're raping my ear. No one wants to listen to Dixie at all. No one wants to listen to her. Nobody likes her. Damn, I'm feeling like crazy here. Let's see if I can find some random thing here. Scrolling up. Whoa. Brooke Hogan, here we go. Dixie Carter announced on Twitter that Brooke Hogan would join the Impact Wrestling roster as the executive in charge of the Knockouts division starting May 31st. That's a joke. Duh. Instead of promoting anything else that was on the show that week, all the promotion for Brooke's debut episode focused on her. The graphics they used to promote her debut during the episode looked almost nothing like her. Brooke Hogan's introduction to Impact Wrestling by Dixie Carter resulted in a mix of cheers, boos, and the crowd not really giving a shit. Definitely not accepting Dixie Carter's claims of how Brooke would help the company and how knowledgeable she was. After debuting, Brooke Tessmacher was forced to drop the Brooke from her ring name because TNA is only big enough for one Brooke apparently. Despite Brooke Hogan referring to her as Tessmacher several times, referring to Tessmacher several times as Brooke, and despite her still being referred to on the TNA site's roster page as such. Many of Brooke's segments appear to have been taped separately from the rest of the show, likely as a result of her relaxed schedule. As a result, she rarely appeared in the same slot with the Knockouts, as her shots were edited into the promo. She left TNA in August of 2013, which was celebrated by the majority of the internet. Yeah. So, yeah. The end on Hulk Hogan's fucking daughter. Pegasus out.